This is Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque, continuing 16 years on air and online, helping you succeed in buying, selling, and investing in property. The best real estate strategies out there just for you.
Welcome to Real Estate This Week. Hi again, I'm Stephen Gasque, and I'm so glad you're here as we look at a real estate battleground over short-term rentals. Communities all across America are divided over whether to kick out AirBNB, VRBO, and other short-term rentals, or just let them stay. Let's talk about it now with a real estate pro who works in one of those communities. Joining us is Beth Foley, broker-owner of Shores of Michigan Real Estate, located on beautiful Lake Michigan. Beth has been helping buyers and sellers for more than 30 years, and she's the past president of the Michigan Realtors. Beth, welcome to Real Estate This Week.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Steve. I really enjoy being on your show and talking about real estate.
Well, you know, I love talking to the pros, and you certainly are one. And so, Beth, first of all, before we get to the topic of short-term rentals, tell me, how's business on the shores of Lake Michigan?
For me, I have been very, very lucky. I've sold some very nice listings, and actually today I have an appointment with one of my friends to list the 6,000 square foot home on Lake Michigan. And it's just been fabulous. As soon as properties under 400 come on the market, and of course in your market you probably don't ever see $400,000 homes, but that is basically, I mean, that's a norm now. And those used to be $100,000, $150,000 homes, but they sell immediately. And then,
Wow.
Then you get up into the, I would say from 600 to $1 million, and they're going to sit there for a while because many of them have to get mortgages and they really don't like that 7%. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so, Beth, let's talk about summer homes along the shores of Lake Michigan. And to begin with, let's go back in time to when we were both children. And it was very common for families to rent a house at the beach for a week, for a month, and sometimes for the whole summer. Now, back in those days, we just called them beach houses and beach rentals. Now they're short-term rentals. Beth, tell me, are they welcome or not welcome in many of the communities you serve?
Well, there are a few people who cause a lot of commotion, and they are 100% against short-term rentals. And many of the areas have explained to short-term rentals over the years, we're talking way back when, that they never gave permission for these properties to be short-term. It was just that people did it. And so some of the communities have designated areas that are on record as being short-term, and you get a permit. Other ones are trying to completely deny it. And even though the state of Michigan, the Supreme Court, has said that their short terms can happen and it's up to the communities. So it is all of the locals that are doing this, but you can go to areas up in Petoskey where they have no short-term rentals at all. And a lot of people lost their homes as a result of not having income, and they weren't living there because they bought them that way. And then you come all the way down to Saugatuck and South Haven. They have just passed limitations on the numbers. I think it's like 30% can be, but if you're already a short term, you get to stay that way until you sell it. So And then
So it's a mixed bag.
it's a mixed bag, and you have to know. Now, I live in Park Township, which is by this Holland State Park, gorgeous area, has always been rentals. And there, some of the houses have been rentals for 150 years. Okay. And the township is looking at that's saying if you were the owner and rented it from 1976 and below, that it can stay short-term rentals. Well, a lot of those houses have changed hands over and over again, so it doesn't work. It's still up in the air. There have been lawsuits. The judges have said, take it back to the locals. And it just doesn't go anywhere. But then there are other areas in this area along the West Coast that they say, you know what? It brings an income. It helps our economy. They understand and they're friendly about it. So like I said, it's just a mixed bag. Realtors from out of the area really need to know what are the rules about rentals.
Absolutely.
Now, where I live again, close to the state park, Park Township, they do have a 30-day that you can do. But shorter than 30 days, and they say no subleasing. In most of the areas, you have to register your property.
Okay. So let's talk about actually owning a short-term rental, and let's put the controversy aside for just a moment. Tell me, if I have a short-term rental on the shores of Lake Michigan, can I make a pile of money every summer?
If it was allowed, and then, like I said, there are some areas that are allowing them. They are getting, and where you live, it may not be a lot, but here it's a lot. But if it's a bigger house, there are some areas that might get up to $7,000-8,000 a week, and we have about a 10-week. If they are smaller homes, they get about $3,000 a week. And and if you have deeded access, if you don't have to go to a state park or a county park, but you have actually deeded access to the water, then there are a number of older communities that are like that along the western coast. You get more money for them because all they have to do is climb up and down steps, and they have the whole beach. So
right. So that sounds great.
Yeah, and like I said, it's been tough where I am to have those kinds of homes sell because we just don't know. But like I said, north and a little bit north, and I'm not talking far, 5 miles north of me and 5 miles south of me, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from what you know about short-term rentals and the people who own them, is owning a short-term rental a lot of work or not so much?
My understanding, cleaning weekly, or if they do 2 or 3 days, they have to have cleaning people in all the time. VRBO and other short-term places, you have to advertise that. You have to make certain that you qualify all those people, get enough down payments. Some people trash the places. Other people are very nice to the homes. So it's myself, no thank you.
Beth, when it comes to the fight over short-term rentals, let's get right into it. And let me ask you, first, what are the benefits of a community allowing short-term rentals?
Number one, economy. It's been proven. The studies have been shown in Saugatuck, locally where I am too, which is the west coast of Holland, Michigan, that the benefits economically far outweigh the few people that abuse it. And that's and it's the families. The families, they don't want to stay in a hotel. They want to stay in a home that they can invite other friends, they can enjoy, they can sit outside. That's, and like I said, some of the people, okay, have rented for 20 years. And then they buy a house here for their family to remember what's going on. Those are the benefits. They get to see a community where it's friendly, it's clean. You've got Lake Michigan, you've got boating on the inland lakes that go out to Lake Michigan. All of the communities have activities all the time, lots of restaurants. That's what it brings to this area.
Okay, Beth, now let's look at the other side of the coin. What about all the stories about a nice home that's a short-term rental in a nice neighborhood becoming an animal house with people partying all night long, the music blaring, people yelling, people just getting out of control? Is that real? Does that really happen? And if so, can you blame communities for saying, we've had enough?
It has happened in the past. It is not happening now because the communities have put time limits on the beach time, on numbers of people in the houses, and the police get to be alerted immediately. And if they have registered, like I said, most of these have registered their properties. If they are registered, some of the people get 3 strikes and you're done. So you lose your license. And
wow.
Yes. And the neighbors do not put up with it if it gets out of hand. But there have been those. I don't hear about them anymore.
Okay. And so, Beth, let's take a look into the future. I know that this is being litigated in Michigan.
Yes.
I know that this is being debated in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. I know it's being debated on the local level as well. So tell me, in your opinion, what is the future of short-term rentals along the shores of Lake Michigan?
I think that there will continue to be short-term rentals. And I believe what will happen, which is happening in a lot of the communities, is they will have designated areas. And those will be within a proximity to the lakes, and that the properties really are conducive to being short-term, like across the street from a lake, by the state park, along the lake shore. Some of these houses, they're big houses and they've always been that way. I'm hoping that the communities finally realize that this is an asset and has been an asset to the community since the early 1900s and to continue that way.
Excellent. Well, Beth, I really want to thank you for being on the show today and telling us all about the battleground over short-term rentals in Michigan. I know you live the battle every day. I know you hear the stories about the battles every day. And I want to thank you for sharing all of it with us. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you for having me on again. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Beth Foley, broker-owner of Shores of Michigan Real Estate, located on beautiful Lake Michigan. Beth has been helping buyers and sellers for more than 30 years, and she's the past president of the Michigan Realtors.
You're listening to Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque.
And now it's time for Beyond the Basics, in which we bring your real estate knowledge to the next level. And today, becoming a short-term landlord. by owning your own AirBNB, VRBO, or some other short-term rental. The idea is very attractive to many investors since there's a chance you could make big money, in some cases bigger money than a year-long rental could provide. But as we just heard from Beth Foley, there are challenges too. So before you buy, do your homework. Know the rules about what's allowed, what's not allowed, and also whether any proposed laws about rentals might affect you. Also, make sure you know the tax situation where you plan to buy. That big income might be chipped away by state, local, and federal taxes because, after all, that rent is taxable income. Okay, but say you do the homework and understand the rules and you go for it. Congratulations, a very exciting move. So let's get it all set up. Now, before you register the property on AirBNB, VRBO, or some other site, get it all ready. And right away, make sure your insurance company has written the right policy for short-term rentals. A regular homeowner's policy probably won't cut it. Next, put a smart lock on the door. Keys are so 1990s. Smart locks are the way to go, and we'll have more on that in just a couple of minutes. Next, make sure everything is working perfectly. The AC and the heat, the appliances, the hot and cold water, the grill, and the internet if you plan to provide that. And make sure the instructions and the passwords are crystal clear and easy to locate. Then, make sure to stock up the place. Bath towels, several sets of sheets, paper towels, TP, pots and pans, cooking tools, and more. It's so important to stock it up right. I'll never forget the time I rented an Airbnb, which had a very nice gas grill, but the only spatula in the place was made of plastic. That's not going to work on a barbecue grill. And then locate a good, reliable cleaning service, one that works weekends. And that brings us to the next job, creating the schedule, when one tenant arrives and when they leave. And then time for the cleaning crew to come in and get the place ready for the next tenant. And the cycle then repeats itself. And this brings us back to the smart locks. If you have a smart lock on the door, you don't really have to be there to deliver the keys. Just go online and give each tenant a unique code. And many short-term rental owners use the last 4 digits of the tenant's phone number, so they'll never forget it. Now, once their time is up, cancel that code. And then the cleaning crew uses their own code, and so on. It works like a charm. So with all that work done, take beautiful photos, pick an online rental site, and go for it. You'll have a new revenue stream as you generate income, and hopefully a lot of income. And you'll learn so much about what works and what doesn't, how to keep the place filled, how to avoid vacancies, and much more. And for every short-term renter you get, I wish you 5 stars every time. Next time on Real Estate This Week, winning strategies, expert advice on buying and selling properties, and how to have the best results every time. That's next on Real Estate This Week. And until then, I'm Stephen Gasque, and thank you for listening.
A brand new episode of Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque drops every Thursday, everywhere. And you're invited to listen, subscribe, and follow us. Just look for Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque. The best real estate strategies out there, just for you.